2.5 years ago, I was reading the whole of the internet, as writers do before we start work, and I found a magazine that I wasn't familiar with called the Smithsonian Magazine, which many, oh look, well you all know it. And it had this article about the Packhorse Librarians of Kentucky, and I'd never heard of them, and I just saw these amazing photographs, which some of you who've been at the lunch have already seen, but ready to take these books on these long journeys to remote families, and set against this mountainous, kind of intimidating backdrop. And it just immediately gave me a feeling that I had to write it. It basically has all my favourite things, which is female friendship, women doing kind of extraordinary things, horses, books, and yeah, wild country. So I had a kind of real visceral feeling that I had to write it. Once I'd kind of done some research on that part of Appalachia, I realised that you can't possibly try and write about it without going there. And for me, I am one of those writers who has to immerse themselves. Some writers can do stuff from Google. I can't do that. I find that if you go, I want to hear the rhythm of the language, I want to hear how people talk to each other, I want to smell the smells and see the things. But also I find that when you talk to people, it often takes your story off into directions that you hadn't expected. I've long wanted to write a book where women were shown to be supporting other women, because I think in a lot of fiction, women are always supposed to be in competition with each other, which is just not my experience of life at all. And in fact, the older I get, the more I find that women are your greatest consolation as you get older. I couldn't get by without my female friends. So I wanted to write a book about female friendship and teamwork. I really hope that people want me to write another one up, because each of these women in their own way don't fit in. And what happens when they slowly bond and work together, and it's not just the library they end up supporting, there are bigger things that happen in this. Well, I was raised in libraries. My parents were students when they had me, and they did not have a lot of money, and so the weekly trip to my local library was a high point for me, because my mum believed in reading. I mean, so did my dad, but she taught me to read when I was 3 years old. I was an only child, and there was not very good television in the UK, so that's what I did all day, and went and picked out my 4 books a week, agonised over which books I should choose, and yeah, my family called me a bookworm, because I always could be relied on to have a book in front of my face. This came about when I first saw it. My first thought was, and some of you are old enough to remember this, I pitched it to a television company in Hollywood. I said, I want to do a remake of Dr. Quinn, Medicine Women, but with library books. And I pitched this whole thing pretty much as I've told you, and I knew the plot and I knew the characters, and they just went, no, we don't do historical. And so I thought, well, I'm going to make it a book, because I have to tell this story. And I'm so excited that it's going to be a film as well. But I have loved these women, and I loved everything they represented. And I just hope if young women read it, especially, they feel inspired that they can do things and not worry about how they look, but worry about how the world looks to them. And that would be the message I want people to take from it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well,